I'm Jim Abram. I am the Regional District Director for Area C, which is called the Discovery Islands Mainland Inlets. Covers everything out there as far as you can see, except for Cortez and Marina. That director's over there. And I also am the Vice Chair of the Regional District. And the Chair has asked me to represent the Regional District. So that is 44,000 people from communities of Cayucit, Gold River, Tassus, Zabalos, Sayward, Campbell River, and 4 electoral areas, huge electoral areas, except for Cortez. And those are 44,000 ferry users. They all use the ferry. Not ours necessarily, but they do use the big ones. So they're all affected. Some of them have major businesses that spend major money on your boats, and they don't like what's going on. But I do want to say that this is absolutely incredible. This is my community that I represent, and I am so proud to be here to do that.
Right on, Jeff.
Don't forget that all of them are ferry users. I want you to know that these people that are here, and people that came over from Powell River, from the Sunshine Coast, and people that came over from Campbell River, and people that came over from Cortez Island, all at great expense and great difficulty. They all need to be congratulated for being here, first of all, and I'd like them to have a round of applause. And most of them have more ferries to use than we do. But I have to tell you, we are insulted by this process. We're disgusted by this plan, and we're extremely angry at this government. And we are not going to take that anymore.
Absolutely.
Our community says very clearly, very simply, no to what you have planned for us. It's insulting, it's deceptive, and it's distracting, because every community here on this coast, all up and down the coast, knows that the problem with BC Ferry services is that the fares are too high.
Absolutely.
You've got it on your board. You have the nerve to pass it out in those books with the decline in ridership as the fares go up. Come on. I mean, what kind of business would do that if they wanted to sell something?
Not Walmart.
One that's going out of business.
So, you know, the loss of business, the service cuts, all of those things that are happening here, very, very hurtful. And everybody, besides knowing what the major problem is, which is the fares, they also know what the solution is. And I'm going to read it to you real quickly, that the province recognize that the coastal ferry services be recognized as essential extensions of our public highway system, roll back the fares, and maintain the service. That is the solution. Thank you. Solution. If government had a brain in its head, they would look at this and say, you know what, we can't do it any other way. We cannot keep coming back to these communities year after year and saying to them, hey, we want to engage you. Okay, another battle. Oh, okay, you're going to engage us about more service cuts, about more fare raises. Yes, we're talking fare hikes in April, service cuts in April, or fare hikes the next April. How many more times are you going to come back and tell us that we have bad news? It came out of highways, put it back in highways.
Absolutely.
There isn't a transportation system that's been studied that makes a profit. And in our situation, no users in the sort of global situation, no users are expected to pay for the operations totally for those operations. We have paid in the last 10 years $1 billion as users. Or sorry, the government has paid $1 billion. I really screwed that up. And we have paid $5 billion. Now, those are pretty shocking numbers, and I bet if you took them down to the SkyTrain or the Seabus or Canada Line or any of those places and asked people if they should pay 5 times as much as the government pays, they'd probably tell you where to go. So the problem with this process is we met with you a year ago, with you folks, as Coastal Regional District Chairs, the group that I'm on, that represents 70% of this population in our province, 70%. And we asked you for some simple things. We asked you for a cost-benefit analysis of what you wanted to do. Because what you wanted to do then was just as crazy as this. We asked you for an impact assessment. We asked you for examination of putting this back into the highways. We talked about assessment of the loss of revenue to the province through things like property taxes. Due to falling assessments, the taxes are going to go down, the income to the government's going to go down. We talked about income and sales taxes declining. We talked about loss of revenue from the resources that are extracted daily from this entire regional district. And we have not gotten a single word back from anybody about any of those topics. We asked you at the meeting that we had in Nanaimo with the chairs if you had done those assessments, cost-benefit analyses, and you said no. So why not? You had a year to do it, you didn't do it. So if you don't know the answers to all of these questions, then you are terrible business people, I'm sorry to say. And you're making decisions based on ideology, not common sense. And that's not right for a public service. And you're public servants. You're killing our communities. We went through this whole government campaign, provincial government campaign, hearing these ridiculous statements about families first and jobs and the economy. Well, both of these are the first to be negatively impacted by this insanity.
Absolutely.
Jobs in our community are disappearing. Our community is disappearing. Look at the numbers. You know, you are part of the people that devise the numbers, so read them. Seniors are going to suffer. Tourism is suffering. Shift workers, hospital workers. Our largest employer, who will speak. All arts, culture, sports, economic development, they're all going to suffer, both on this side of the water and on the Campbell River side of the water. We have reciprocal situations where we go to functions over there and we spend a lot of money at those functions. And people come over here at this stage and they come to some incredible cultural events that they will not come to in the future because they won't be able to get home. And they're not going to spend the extra $100 or whatever for a room. Our ambulance service. Did anybody ever think about the fact that when the ambulance drives on the ferry, it just drives on the ferry like a car or a truck? Costs nothing to take it back from here over to there. Costs what, $20, $30 to bring it back this way? Well, if you take out our last 2 runs, and we have nighttime emergencies that are within those run times, you are now charging the healthcare system, which we all hear is in dire straits. You're going to charge them an extra $3,000 per call out. That is insane. You would save all of this money that you're trying to save by just leaving the service there. Just for the ambulance. Hydro trucks, you know, have you talked to the hydro company? They don't come over here until after they've dealt with the major stuff on the other side, where they've got a whole whack of customers. 30,000 people living in Campbell River. They get served first. So when do we get them? Late in the evening. They come over sometimes, if they can get over on the ferry. And they will work. Sometimes they will stay overnight. Sometimes they will go back on the last ferries. Not anymore. And the crews that I've talked to, they said if they can't come over knowing that it's a simple outage and they may be able to go back that night, they won't come over. They'll come over the next day. So we'll be without power for 12, 14, 16 hours, who knows. That may not sound devastating to you folks, but it is to us. We all have wells. We have deep freezes. We live off a lot of things that we gather ourselves. So I don't want to take up too much more of your time or the audience's time, but I have to say your plan's a joke. It's an insult to our intelligence, and it's a crime against our people.
Absolutely.